This is part 1 on how to edit in Kinemaster. When you open Kinemaster, you'll find the project screen here. On the right hand side, it will be blank if you've not used it before, but if you've created projects, that's where you access the different files that you've already created. To get started, you just press the big plus button in the middle to create your project. You get the choice of aspect ratios, so most commonly you'd use 16:9, but if you want a Facebook or Instagram story, you can select 9:16, or if you want an Instagram square video, 1:1. I'm selecting 16:9 for this. And this is the basic workspace. On the top left, you've got your preview window where your final video will appear and you can see what it's going to look like. Underneath that is the long grey strip, which is the timeline, and that's where you'll assemble all your video clips to build your video and trim and edit them in there. The red line down the middle of that is the playhead, and you're going to move that around to navigate through your video. And you can see the time code at the top, which is really helpful for figuring out where you need to put edits. On the top right is the media wheel, and that's where you're going to go and access all your files that are on your phone, the video clips that you've shot or photographs. It's also where you'll find titles and music and a whole load of other effects that you can use. To get started, you click the top of the media wheel just to pull in your first video clip. It's the only option available to you at first. And this will take you to your camera roll. You can access either videos or photographs. If you've organised all your videos in folders beforehand, then it makes it nice and easy to find. My photos will just come under all, and then I'm going to find the interview clip that I want to use, which is here, 1:56. Now I can just tap it and it will drop it in, or I can touch and hold it to preview that clip just to check that it's the one that I actually want to use. Once I've done that, I can press add in the top right, or if I've got lots of clips that I'm just trying to sort through at the moment, I can click the love heart to favourite it, and it'll make it easy for me to find later on. So I'm going to click add, and you can see it's dropped it there in the timeline in the project. I can scrub through, and if I click the tick on the top right, that'll take me back to my main workspace. There's a few basic controls that I'll do in this tutorial. The first is to trim your clips, and that's if you're wanting to take the first bit off your clip and the last bit off your clip to just get to the beginning of your interview. First way that you can do this is by what's called trimming. If you tap the clip, it will highlight the clip in yellow, and then you can see there's a thick yellow line at the end of the clip with 3 dots on it, and that's called the handles. I can hold those handles, just touch it with my finger, and then it trims it at the end until I get to the point in the interview that I want. If I go too far, I can just take it back to the point where I think the interview starts. So obviously this is just all chatter at the start of the interview, and I can just keep going until I see the point where the talking begins. And then I could do that at the end as well. You can see at the end of the interview there's lots of chatter. So I can just find the point where the interview ends, grab the handle, and drag it in towards the timeline. And I can keep working on that until I've got that accurate. Another way to trim, or rather, another way to edit your footage, whether you want to take a section out in the middle of the interview or just fine-tune that edit at the start of the interview, is to use the split tool, which is the scissors in the top left. This is quite helpful, as I say, for getting really accurate edits. So I'm just going to pinch out to stretch the timeline so I can find the exact point where the interview begins. And let's say it's there. I can just drag the clip along until the playhead is over the point where I want the edit or the cut to be made. By tapping the clip, it pulls up all the editing options in this right-hand box at the top here. I tap on the scissors, and it gives me the option to trim to the left of playhead, trim to the right, or split at playhead. So for this bit, I'm going to trim to the left. And then obviously if you're working in the end of the interview, you would trim to the right, and it will take away all the footage to the right of the clip. If I've got that wrong, again, I can simply drag the handles out and none of the footage has been destroyed, it's all there. Or I can simply undo the final move to bring it back to where I want it to be. If I want to take a section out from the middle, again, move the playhead to where you want to make the edit, tap on the clip, and then just put split at playhead. And all that does, it doesn't take anything away, it just puts a cut in the middle. And then I can just scrub along until I find the bit where I want this to end. And again, split at playhead. And that leaves me with this middle section cut out that I can remove by just pressing on the left-hand side the dustbin. If I want to rearrange the clips, so take this end bit of the clip to the start of the timeline, I just touch and hold the clip, and that removes it from the timeline, and now I can move it around anywhere, just drag it over the top and drop it in at the beginning. The final thing to show you in this tutorial is how to add cutaway footage. So once I've edited my interview the way that I want it, I want to add some more interesting shots around the studio to illustrate what the interviewee is talking about. To do that, move the playhead again to where you want the footage roughly to be dropped. And then instead of pressing the media at the top of the wheel, you're going to layer at the left of the wheel. And when you touch layer, it brings up all these options. We'll look at the other options like effects and text and overlays in another tutorial. For this, all you need to do is press media. And again, it takes you to the same options on your camera roll. You find the clip that you want to use, playing the guitar, and you tap on it and it drops it in on top of the footage of the interview. On the timeline, it appears underneath the interview. But in the preview window, you can see that it appears on top. Now you want to completely obscure the interview underneath, so you touch the arrow in the bottom right corner, and then make it smaller or bigger, usually, to the size that you want. And that's you added your cutaway footage.